Good evening, sir.
Hi, good evening.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening. Good evening. What is the batch strength?
It's around 50, 52,
52. Okay. Okay. Okay.
48.
Okay. 48, 52. Okay. But yeah, I think only 28, 27 people have joined. Okay.
Yeah, people are coming in.
Okay. Usually what time other sessions start? Like how long should I wait?
At 7:05.
7:05. Okay. Good. Good, good. Okay. Meanwhile, let's get to know each other. So I mean, just to get a quick understanding, how many of you are from marketing backgrounds? Like you studied marketing? You can do a hand raise in Zoom. That will help. Okay. Okay. Quite a few. Okay. Good. About 1/3 though. Okay. And what about I'm guessing most of you are already working in some sort of marketing roles in your organizations. Is that correct understanding?
That's right.
Yes.
Yes.
Sir.
Okay, good. Great. Then a follow-up question would be, and if you guys can help me with, what are the courses or topics that have been covered already in this in this session? I mean this year.
So we
In the,
had
yeah.
intro to the foundations of the marketing. We had PI, which was mainly around and basics intro to analytics, and then we had AI, ML, and data, which was a sort of repetition of the PI course, but slightly with the data angle. And then we had intro to AI prompting, which was a very fundamental prompting course and a basic one where we understood 6 or 7 types of prompting. That's in the nutshell.
Okay, good. Which one was the most interesting?
I think I missed the last one, which was more about understanding the AI in the digital marketing, sort of where we understood DSP and fundamentals of ad tech, basically. Ad tech and martech. So I think that was the most interesting one, and the prompting one, which was introduction to the prompts and basic prompts, which we felt was more related to the AI and the course that we had enrolled for.
Got it. Yeah. Yeah, I think prompting is going to be the new skill next few years. So good to know that prompting has already been covered. Because yeah, we'll also try to do some things and see how we are going. So it's helpful that you've gone through that. Anybody already has been using any marketing, I mean AI tools, so to say. I mean, apart from ChatGPT, just to be sure.
Oh,
I think
to a limited extent.
Copilot extensively internally, and at least I'm using Copilot every now and then. I've been using it for over a year now, and aside to that, personally I use Perplexity and ChatGPT.
Okay. Anybody else has been using any other tools?
Gemini and Sora, and I mean, we tried our hands at VO as well.
Okay, how was that? How was the view experience?
It's actually quite interesting. It has simplified video making quite extensively, and I feel the platform is also learning with us. So you'll see some gaps after some point in time. But that was a scene with Sora also when it initially got launched.
Right. Yeah. I think in general, all the tools are learning with us. So I think that's a given right now. The good thing is that they're learning fast. But yeah, whatever we are feeding them is definitely, getting feeded to learn and become better. It's a very interesting time, I think, in our lifetimes, the way what is happening with AI. Anyway, good, cool. I think let's begin. It's 7:07. So good. I've got fairly, base, fairly understood what you guys have studied so far. So last year when we did this course, inbound marketing was, right almost at the beginning. So there was a little context from the students who had, because they were not, things were not covered. But I think this year, I think they pushed the inbound marketing course later, which is good because now you guys have gone through a lot of things. So it will help, learning what we are doing here better. I'll come to my intro in a bit, but just before that, another couple of things. So, how many of you are into B2B? Just want to understand. Again, a raise of hands or any more emoji will do. Okay. Okay. Uh, okay. Very few. Okay. Uh, the rest, should I assume you guys are in B2C or any? Should I? Do we need to understand B2B, B2C just to be sure? And that's also fine if that is a question.
I'm also B2B, but I'm unable to raise the hand. I don't know, some technical issues there.
Okay. Okay. Okay, good. Okay, I think good to know. I mean, it's fairly a mix, I think, about yes, less of B2B, but still quite a few. And when somebody is saying both, are you like the brand you work for sells to both, or you're working with an agency? I mean, and feel free to unmute and talk here. I mean, don't need to.
So I
Yeah,
have
it's a
managed
brand.
both B2B, B2C clients because I have worked with an agency in the past.
Okay.
Likewise for me, sir. I've had a mix of both B2B, B2C, agency, client side experience.
Okay. Good. So good. I mean, why all this context helps is, when we are talking, and, my experience is mostly, running a business and running an agency. So we will be talking more practical stuff rather than theoretical. So which is why I'm gathering all this information that, what kind of work have you guys been doing, or what is your industry or audience you're targeting, right? So all those questions basically, right? So that helps me understand that, okay, what you guys know already or would have done. Cool. Okay. And anybody already practicing inbound marketing in their organization or has done?
Yes, sir. In the past, for GoDaddy, and few other clients like IELTS and ETS and Infinia and Visa and Amex, but fairly in the past, and this would be like 7 years down the line, not
Oh,
very
okay. That's a while ago. Okay. Okay. Good. Okay, cool. So not a lot of people have done inbound marketing. Good. Not a worry. Okay, let's dive into that. Any expectations before we begin? Anybody has any, expectations coming into the sessions? Not guaranteeing everything will get covered, but just to know.
So I think what we're all looking for is kind of the application in AI when it comes to, say, inbound marketing as well, because we all are fairly aware of what AI is and how it's transforming marketing, but to know more about how it's practically being applied, one, to the kind of tools that we need to be aware of and how they are changing things, and maybe some examples, right? So how we could then, in our day-to-day, work and projects, deploy those skills and that knowledge.
Okay, good. Thanks, Cliff. Anybody else? Any thoughts or expectations? Okay, I guess that's good enough then. Same as Cliff. Okay, cool. Cool. Yeah, I think that should get covered. Not today, but yeah, over the 6 sessions, yeah, we will be covering. Today we'll look at a lot of basics and some things which we need to be ready with before we get into the implementation using AI. Okay. Sounds good. Chalo. So with that, let's begin. I'll share my screen and let me know when you are able to see. If anybody can confirm, are you able to see the screen?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Yes.
great.
Yes, visible.
Sounds good. Cool. So my name is Abhinav Sahai. I am the co-founder of a company called Nisway. Nisway has been into inbound marketing for, I don't know, about 15 years. We moved, right now we were a Martech services and products company. And what I mean right now is, so we started as an inbound marketing company back in 2011. And for about 10 odd years, we were consistently doing inbound marketing. And then over the period of the pandemic, we transitioned more towards the tech side of inbound marketing, wherein we are implementing, tech solutions which will enable inbound and other forms of marketing, right? We also have our own products now in the space, and mostly what we say is, we're revolving around the HubSpot ecosystem. We were the first in the Asia region who became a HubSpot, elite partner. HubSpot has these various levels of partnership, and we've been the first guys who reached the topmost tier in the ecosystem. Uh, like I said, been almost 14 years, so we've served lots of customers across lots of countries. And then personally, do a lot of speaking around these topics, marketing automation, inbound, as well as, around entrepreneurship a lot. Yeah. Our organization has received a lot of media coverage, BBC, Week, Careers, 360. Personally, just out of this work, marketing and all of this work, I do spend my time working with startups, mostly with student startups with IIT Kanpur and IIT Bombay. And then I do a lot of volunteering work with some NGOs in the education space primarily. Yeah. And obviously some time for the body as well. So I do involve in tennis and stay fit that way. So that's a quick intro about me and why I'm, here with all of you. Like I said, I've been a speaker on various topics around the world. This is just one of the picks from HubSpot event in Singapore a few years back. Yeah, I look different in case you're wondering. Yeah, it's been a while. Okay. So one quick thing before we actually dive in. Yeah, feel free to ask questions. Feel free to pause. Feel free to raise hands. Yeah, we don't want it to be a one-way session, one-way communication. We'll keep taking in questions. You pause me, stop me at any point in time you're not clear. Uh, Smaller questions will get answered right away. If it is for a bigger discussion, we may take it later, but still at least have the question there, and I may not be checking chat, so best is to unmute and speak, and as long as you can keep your cameras open, I think that it will help. It feels like talking to a wall otherwise, so that will help definitely if you can keep your cameras ready. Anything before we begin? Anything on my background or anything? Any questions before we actually dive in? Okay, cool. So usually I will pause and I will ask if there is a question, and I will wait a few seconds. If there is something, do raise your hand or do unmute and speak. But yeah, like I said, let's keep it conversational, and as far as possible, we'll try to cover the practical aspects.
Sure, sure.
Okay. So origin definition, I think that is important. Where is it all coming from? Uh, I don't know if you guys have heard of this company called HubSpot, but yeah, if you've heard of it, then you probably also have seen their blog or a lot of content that they would have written. Generally, if you search for anything around marketing, one of their blogs will show up in Google. I don't know if you use Google anymore, but still, till the time we used to use Google, we used to get a lot of their articles while searching for stuff. So the word was coined by the founders of HubSpot in about 2005 or 6 when they started this company, and the whole idea was that marketing has always been, uh, it's been outbound, so to say. That okay, I will try to reach to my customer, right? If I'm a brand, if I'm a product, right, I am trying to reach out to my customer, right? This whole definition changed with these guys, saying, hey, why do I have to reach out? Why can't a customer find me when they want a product? Right? This is less intrusive. This is not, disturbing the customer and being available when they need you. Yeah. So that was the core principle behind inbound marketing, that, okay, are you there when your customer is looking for you or your prospect is looking for you, versus you're trying to reach out to the prospect and constantly trying to barge them with whatever information you have that, hey, my product is great, right? Yes, sure, your product is great, but can you do a different way of marketing and being available and support the customer when they need you? So that was a philosophy behind inbound marketing. And that is how, with the advent of internet, basically, uh, this whole thing got progressed. If prior to internet, there wasn't any way that where I could find something, right? I could go or, look for that. Hey, I'm looking for, let's say, um, mobile phone would be the wrong example, but yeah, let's say I have to buy a car, right? Can I go and find out on my own before visiting 10 different, stores about a car? Not possible. But obviously, with the advent of internet, everything changed, right? So with that, being available as a medium, the whole point of inbound and outbound started getting clearer for people, that okay, this is, where people are looking for my product. Am I visible there? Am I available when the customer is looking for me? That was the whole, idea behind it. And over a period of time, people started seeing advantages of it. Now, all of you, now since you've been into marketing, I'm sure you've done some bits of SEO and some, advertising, Google advertising, right? All of that, all of you would have done, right? Over a period of time, people started seeing these benefits, that okay, when I'm doing an inbound marketing campaign, I'm getting better leads, I'm getting different leads, I'm getting, in some cases, I'm getting more leads, right? So what generally happened is, and again, this is where, this is all history now. Given the way it worked right now, it is a little different. But yeah, the way it came into picture was, we all started writing content. We all started writing a lot of case studies and, white papers and everything, which when a prospect is looking for not exactly my product, but they will land on my content, right? And eventually they will, speak to me or engage with me in some manner at some point in time. It may not be immediate, but at some point in time, right? So in fact, let me share one of the customers that we worked with a few years ago. The anecdote that he shared was that, hey, Abhinav, whenever we are getting leads from our website directly, people who are coming to our website and filling the form, they convert the fastest. Yeah. So his point was, and when I'm saying leads, this is a B2B company, and their minimum, product was $10,000. Okay. So they were selling really high, quality and high expensive stuff online, and the minimum time for closure started decreasing when they started doing this inbound marketing. Because so his, according to him, he said that, when people come to me and fill the form, generally when I go on a call and talk to them, they would have already gone through my website, they would have already read a lot of things, and they would have already understood what we are selling and why we are selling. Okay, now in that process, I don't have to sell a lot, right? The customer is coming educated, they already know what they are getting into, why they are speaking to us. Yeah. And that was only because my customer had published a lot of this content on their website, and their prospects would arrive at them in some manner because of this. Yeah. So the engagement, the sales cycle shortened. They started engaging more with the customer. The customer was more interested. Hey, I've already read all these things. I don't want you to know, tell me all this again. I want to go into a deeper engagement, right? So the questions that came out on the first call itself were very different from the ones that when we were, doing some outbound campaigns as well. So the leads that would generate from there versus the ones which would come from inbound were very, very different, right? Uh, and then obviously since we are not spending, we are not, using any platform to advertise, or you're not sending bulk emails. So all that cost also factored in, right? Eventually they would say that, hey, organic leads are working for us much better than, the inorganic leads. Yeah. So those are the, important things that we saw when people would come, people would say, and customers would validate all of that, right? So this is where, again, 2005 to, I would say, about 2021, a lot of this was very prominent. People coming in from Google, people coming in from LinkedIn and saying, hey, I have read your content online, or I saw this on your, I saw your LinkedIn post, and I understand what you're trying to say. I think I would want to have a conversation. Right. So this is all coming from the inbound aspect, right? Now, when I say LinkedIn, I'm talking about organic post. I'm not talking about inorganic. I'm not talking about in-mails, advertising, not talking any of that. Right. So organic LinkedIn, content that we were generating. Yeah. So that was how it started. And like I said, I was just sharing this earlier, right? Because of the internet and social media, all of this changed. The way people were looking for products, people were looking for services, people were looking for companies to engage with. And then eventually that expectation and behavior changed over a period of time. The whole thing became that, hey, whoever is visible on search, whoever is visible on LinkedIn is getting the leads, versus, I'm not being seen. Even though, you're a great company, your products are great, but if you're not publishing enough content, I think people are not able to find you, right? Uh, Even e-commerce companies eventually started adopting this. Now one would think that e-commerce, why does e-commerce have to do, if I'm looking for, let's say, a Samsung phone, Amazon, result would automatically come up, right? But Amazon started publishing different sort of content. Top 10 phones, under 10,000, for example, right? Budget wise, product wise, region wise, they start publishing all this content. Now eventually this is, again, they know that people are looking for all this, or people are searching all this. So they want customers to not go to any blog, any other, portal. They want the customer directly to come to Amazon and eventually buy from there, right? So that is how, customer expectation changed and behavior eventually changed, that directly I can go to now Amazon and, okay, yeah, I found this information useful, I'll buy it from there. Versus earlier I would go to a phone arena or something, some of those blogs where people would write product reviews, and, this machine is better, or this tablet is better, right? All those things. So that whole behavior changed over a period of time. And that is where, all this inbound marketing became so popular that everybody was writing. Right. Now, obviously, it has its disadvantages, and we'll come to that in a bit. Um, but just to clarify and make sure that, we understand what are the differences between inbound and outbound. Inbound focuses on attracting customers through relevant and valuable content. Now, SEO, I'm sure everybody knows. ASO and AIO, are people aware of these terms? Yes, no. Yeah.
No, sir.
Okay, so ASO is App Store Optimization. Okay, now this also worked for a lot of product companies who were just on apps. Now, if I'm on the Google Play Store or Apple App Store, then we started eventually getting customers who would say, hey, I want App Store optimization. When people are searching for a relevant app in the marketplace, in the Play Store, my app should be at the top. Right now, obviously, both Google and Apple allow you to advertise, but beyond the advertising, there are the organic results, right? So there is a whole practice of inbound marketing which just focuses on ASO, right? App Store optimization. Okay, what to write there, what to make sure in your reviews, what is there, how often are you updating? So there is a whole science behind that, how people approach App Store optimization. Okay. And AIO is the latest one, which is AI optimization. Now, AI optimization basically is, um, let's say when you're looking at, people said you're using ChatGPT or Copilot, right? And what would earlier people do? we would look at Google, right? We will go to Google, write something, and there would be 10 links, uh, right? Instead, what do we do now? We generally go to a AI tool, a GPT or Copilot, and we write the whole problem statement there. We write longer sentences there instead of 2, 3 keywords that we used to write. Now, is your company or brand, showing up in those answers, in the GPT's answers? Is it linking to your website over there? That is basically again a new science that has developed last couple of years, which is called AI optimization.
Um,
Yeah.
so may I ask, so would this also cover what happens now with zero-click searches? So when you search on Google, you get the AI snippet where it gives a little about, the type of content you're looking for and so on.
Right. Exactly. It is the same thing. AIO. Yeah. It
So,
is.
but how if we are going to push ads or any company names into the search for AI or whatever we are searching, wouldn't it tend to create biases?
Well, it does. No doubt it does. So see, the thing is that with Google also, and which is what Cliff mentioned, zero clicks. So the whole thing, I'm sure some of you may have heard that the number of clicks on Google's search results have drastically dropped. For those who do not know, earlier we would search something on Google, and 10 results would show up, and eventually we would click on one of those or two of those and look at, okay, what is the search result saying. Now Google gives a AI summary. Now think about it. Hardly any chance that I am now going to click on any of those 10 links that are below, because I've read the AI summary, got my answer, whatever I wanted, and I've left. Right. So there is a 68% in fact drop in searches, clicks on Google search results in the last 1 year, because people are not actually now clicking. They are just looking at the AI summary, whether it is GPT or Gemini or Copilot, and they're just dropping it there. So not really, the clicks have really dropped there. Uh, the biases, I will say, are coming from what you are searching. Okay, so what your context and what your search or chat history is with the AI, that is what it is putting in. So all those biases are, yes, coming in, but it mostly contextual. Anmol, did you mean this one, or are you talking about some other biases? Just to be sure.
No, I'm specifically talking about from a content bias perspective. That
Okay.
if somebody is searching for a generic thing and any company or organization is pushing any particular keyword, unless until it's segregated or it's mentioned that this is promoted, which I've not seen very often in the AI searches until now,
Yeah.
except in the Google Gemini searches where they actively push and show you multiple options.
Right.
But that would tend to create biases if it kind of comes into Chat GPT or Copilot or other stuff.
Right. So right now, these sponsored links, so to say, or paid links are not there in any, other than obviously Google. They are not using it. Uh, Perplexity says that they will be soon launching an OS. They have already launched a browser. And if they've launched a browser, obviously they would eventually make money by doing some sponsored listing as well, just like Google. Right. So the bias, okay, two things here. So one is, when Google also launched, and I don't know if you are aware, in back in 2006, 7, 8, even up to, I will say up to 10, a lot of Google search results, not the paid ones, the organic ones, the first ones would be something which you may not find the right answer. And that was something that at that time was very rampant, something called as keyword stuffing. Okay. So what would people do is people would figure out, okay, what is the keyword that a prospect may be searching for? And Google, used to give this data, and still gives this data. And people would eventually just use all that, keywords and stuff on an article, right? So if let's say I'm saying inbound marketing, on that same, blog page, I would use the word inbound marketing 10 times. And Google's algorithm were not able to figure this out, that this is keyword stuffing, and they would start ranking that page higher, because they would say, yeah, this page has 10 times inbound marketing, so it will show up, right? So that is what exactly you are saying, that some irrelevant results may start showing up in a GPT or a Perplexity, right? So people would start optimizing for it. Eventually, the AI agents will figure this out, that okay, this is keyword stuffing. Let's push that down, right? Eventually, that's what Google also did. Thankfully, since Google has gone through that journey and search engines have gone through that journey, AI engines will not have to go through a repeated journey. They already know that this has happened in the past, so we have to be aware of, the keyword stuffing pit, which is where they're doing well. So far, they're doing well, right? So that's on that piece, on the bias being what am I writing if I'm optimizing for that. Similarly, on the paid thing, I don't think within a chat GPT or a copilot, you will start seeing paid results. And even if it comes, they would obviously have to do it, just like Google, that this is a sponsored listing or a sponsored link, right? So I think we should be open to that this may happen, especially because, like I said, Perplexity already launched a browser, and eventually that's what they're hoping, that they will also make money by advertising when people are using their browser, and eventually right into the OS as well. So yeah, but good point that you've raised there. And yeah, eventually we will see how this shapes up. Does that answer? I know it's a long discussion, but still, for this context, does that answer?
You're on mute. Anmol, you are on mute.
Uh, I think it does answer, but it's at a very nascent stage right now to really understand how they will get into the advertising into the AI content piece, and of course, unless
Right.
and they put the certain banners up around it, because Perplexity has already increased its base with the Airtel in India, and they kind
Right.
of are getting into a first mover advantage to kind of have multiple installs, and if they're launching the browser,
Yeah.
then we'll probably see it in the coming months for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Interesting times how this will shape up.
Sir, I have a question.
Yeah.
So the running campaign through the aggregator, that is Swiggy and Zomato, the topical banner and the banner, that also comes under the ASO, right?
Sorry. Could you repeat that, Soumya?
I'm saying that's the trending campaign. If your brand is visible on your like aggregator app, that is Swiggy or Zomato kind of things, that your topical banner, main banner, that will also comes under the inbound marketing or ASO, right?
It won't. You can call it under inbound marketing. So just to be sure, you're saying that, let's say if I search for chips, for example, on a Swiggy, and my brand of chips shows up, is that what you're saying? Yes. Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So that definitely comes under inbound marketing, because yes, we have to, I mean, consumers search various things. Brands have to figure out what are they actually searching within a Swiggy or a, Zomato, and that snippet of their product or of their, menu or restaurant has to have that, right? So it does come under inbound marketing, right?
Right, sir. Thank you.
Okay. So yeah, so lots of things that people can say, and this is a very good example what Soumya brought up, right? So I can think of various things on what I want to write on my product, on my, let's say, just for searching for chips, for example, right? What else as a user, what else I may be writing there on the search box in Swiggy, which will make sure that my product shows up, right? Am I getting more reviews? Am I getting more, buys, right? This one thing that is automated still is the number of buys, which is like on Amazon also. So Amazon also gives keywords, and there are tools which will tell you what are people searching within Amazon, and you can again optimize your product page based on that. So there are tools available if you're selling something on Amazon and all these portals. You can do that as well. So again, that is inbound marketing, because you're changing your product and you're changing your content based on what people are looking for, right? Versus doing an ad on Amazon. You can do an ad on Amazon as well, but can you optimize it for what people are actually looking for? That is where inbound marketing comes in. Yeah. Uh, cool. So yeah. So just to move ahead on this one. Yeah, so I mean, mostly the customer engagement in terms of inbound is, when customers are looking for it and you show up, versus on an outbound thing, we all know, we all get so many calls during the day and so many emails which we never open. That is all, outbound. Um, the target audience, I think the big difference is this. In outbound, we are generally targeting a broader audience. that, okay, I will reach out to 100 people, let's say, and then, out of them, 5 may convert to us. Versus in inbound, you're looking at, okay, who is exactly my persona, because you don't want to write broad content, lots of people to show up on your website and then, nobody converting, right? So you want to focus on your persona, you want to focus on who this target audience is, what their needs are, and then try to write content or create that, whether it is create, video, audio, or whatever you're creating, right? Very specific to the persona. So that audience comes in very, very effective when you done that inbound marketing campaign. And we'll come to that in a bit, how to plan for that. But yeah, so that is the key thing, one key difference between these two approaches. Cost we've already spoken about, right? Initially, and I must mention there, initially the inbound marketing will, give you slow results, but it is more that it is a long-term strategy. It will give you sustainable evergreen content, which will let you to, okay, if I've created this content, it may give me leads for the next, few years even, not just today. Versus an outbound, I'm running an ad campaign, I'm running a billboard, I'm doing a print ad somewhere, right? So it vanishes. The shelf life is very, very small, right? I will see an ad, or you will see, we all see TV ads, right? How many of them do we actually remember? Barely any, because there is so much of advertising happening, right? So those are the differences, and which is why, if you see a TV ad, you will, some of the brands you will see, they keep advertising constantly. That is the way to build a brand recall. But obviously that is expensive. Yeah. In terms of adaptability, inbound marketing, again, we can keep looking at what is the customer, giving the feedback. Like I said, we can keep looking at, what keywords are people looking for on Amazon or Swiggy, and keep optimizing our content based on that. Versus, again, on an Amazon ad, I will have to push that ad, I will have to run it for a long period of time to make sure that I'm getting some clicks, or actually I'm getting some data on what is happening. Yeah. So adaptability is different approaches again on both inbound and outbound. And then because the approaches are different, the measurement metrics are also different. On an outbound, I'm generally looking at, what is the conversion rate, right? If I have run an ad, what is the conversion rate? If I have run a TV ad, what is the brand recall? Did my, at the time of the TV ad, did my, search go up or not, right? Did my brand search go up or not, basically, right? That is a way to now measure TV ads, whether it is doing well or not. People are putting QR codes on those TV ads, right, to measure that, okay, how many people are actually scanning those, right? But they're looking at generally the conversions, right? Versus an inbound, you would be looking at, okay, are people coming to my website first of all? Right? What are they doing when they're coming to their website? What are, are they getting into my funnel? And generally, this is just marketing qualified funnel. This is not a sales qualified funnel. Versus when you're running an ad on or an outbound campaign, you're generally looking at a qualified sales qualified leads, not a marketing qualified lead, because you're spending ads. You want directly, people to come and buy from you. So you're looking at sales qualified leads. I'll just take a quick pause. Anybody who doesn't know MQL, SQL, happy to answer everything, but yeah, just being sure that this is understood. Okay, cool. No questions there. Okay, cool. Yeah. Cool. Yeah. So exactly, right? So inbound marketing, you will build a funnel. You will say, let's start from MQL and then taper it down towards the SQLs. And in an outbound campaign, you're generally looking at directly getting SQLs. So which is why the measurement ways also differ. Examples we've already, spoken about, but yeah, just for your, memory. Blogging, social media, SEO, email newsletters, webinars, all of this is basically content that is being created and attract the audience that we're looking at. Versus an outbound, we all know all the ad campaigns and everything. Okay. Now, a lot of things, if we would have gone through only till this, it would feel like, oh, inbound marketing makes more sense. But not always. So what are the drawbacks? Okay. One is that it is time intensive. Why? Because creating this high quality content that will get you actually the leads takes a while. Okay, it's not that easy. Yeah. What point being that whenever we are creating this content, okay, let me flip this. With AI, content creation has become very easy. I think that has happened last few years, right? So one may argue that no, now it is not, difficult to create content, or it is not time consuming. But what has happened is, because now it has become easy for everyone, right? So again, the bar is now so low that everyone is able to create this content. Now, what do you do to create high quality, actually, content that differentiates you from your competitors? Yeah. So that bar of creating high quality content has gone further up. Earlier, this was lower because not everybody was able to create this content. But that has now gone further up because of the ease of creating this content, right? So one may say that, yeah, it has become easier to create content, but now everybody is able to create that same content quickly. Now what do? You have to create further, more high quality content, and which again takes more time. Results may take time. Generally, you will see leads or sales coming in from inbound after a few months of activity. Now, unless you have a product which is very unique, you are the only one selling in the market, then you may be able to get some quick returns out of the inbound marketing campaign. But then if you're selling such a unique product, then I'm assuming that the market search volume is also very low. The awareness is low, right? If you're selling something very unique, which only you are only creating, or just a handful of players are creating, then probably the market demand is also less, right? So eventually you will realize that, okay, inbound marketing may get me a quick few wins, but for a longer sustained effort, I may still want to, if I want faster results, I may still want to go and do some, advertising, online or offline, whatever works for your audience. But yeah, it will generally take time. So to the question for a new product, what is a better approach? I think generally what will happen is you will say that, okay, let me try both. Let me see what is working better. And maybe, if you're unique in the market, maybe you will start seeing results quickly from inbound, but generally it will take time. Competitive landscape. This, like I said, 2005, 6, nobody was doing, you would write a piece of content and page one, next day you would see yourself on page one of Google. Now, it's almost impossible to rank, especially with now the whole AI thing. People are barely even looking at 10 results. So it's very, very difficult. The competition is huge. The game has changed. You will see maybe 2 or 3 search results, and maybe not scroll beyond that at all, right? So that has become difficult. So again, big disadvantage to this. Obviously, it helps the guys who are advertising platforms, because then you're advertising more there. So Google, LinkedIn, Meta, everybody has benefited also from that, because now everybody is advertising even more. Yeah. And the fourth and the most important thing is we are always dependent on the algorithms of these platforms, right? So what may be working, like I said, keyword stuffing worked brilliantly 2005, 6, 7, right? But after that, Google changed its algorithms and all that game changed. Then in 11, again, they brought some major updates. Last year, they again brought in AI updates, which meant that if it will start your de-ranking your content if Google detects it's all AI generated. Okay. And there are case studies already published on this. If you wish to figure this out, basically all AI generated content, search engines are able to detect this. Okay. Now, because they are able to detect this, they are also penalizing these organizations which are generating only AI generated content. Yeah. So point being that we are always dependent on all these platforms. So LinkedIn will change its algorithm. If you add links, LinkedIn will say, no, your ranking is going down, right? In the main content. So which is why, people always write a post and then say link in comments, right? Because they don't want their post to be de-ranked or not get enough reach because of the link they have added, right? So all of those things basically have come into play, and we are always dependent on all these algorithms that, okay, whenever they change, we will have to adapt our content, or the content that we have written in the past may stop ranking anymore, right? So that is another challenge of inbound marketing. The platforms control all of this. We're not controlling a lot of this content, that, okay, whether we are getting the clicks or not. Yeah.
Question, yeah. So as you mentioned the first point that, the the benchmark for quality content has gone up, and then yes, it is easier to make AI content. With algorithms now actively seeking out AI generated content and removing it, I mean, it's kind of oxymoron, because a lot of people talk about how content writers are becoming extinct due to AI. But if this is true, then content writers are still quite important. Either rewrite the content that's created by AI, or to write content that's absolutely fresh. So what exactly is the future then?
Okay. So the whole thing will revolve, at least from what we are seeing right now, is so you're right. A lot of content writing writers have been, not there anymore. The jobs are not there. Why? A lot of the content that we were generating before AI, was very high level content, like top of the funnel. Okay, now all that content, and when I say top of the funnel, it's mostly that it's not deeply researched content. It's, keyword stuffed, maybe a few keywords, if not stuffed, but very generic content that people were getting ranked for, right? And everybody wanted that content, that, okay, let me at least create that, right? And a lot of these content writers were getting those jobs. That segment has, lost their jobs because they were not able to create high value content. They were not able to add context. They were not able to connect the dots between four things and build a piece of content which a prospect would find relevant, right? All of that generic content AI is creating. I can add a few keywords. I can say, okay, hey, change this. Okay, change the tone. Here is my tone, and I can do all of that very easily now, right? I can give AI my four articles that I would have written, let's say 5 years ago, actually, and I can say, hey, this is my tone. Now use this tone and create 5 more articles based on these topics. AI can do all of that, right? But can I add more context, which will create more value? Like I said, high quality. The high quality is contextual content. Am I able to create that? If yes, then my job is still relevant. That is where AI is also saying, yeah, if you're able to do it, great. You can't just say, hey, GPT, create this, here is a topic, inbound marketing, and I want you to create a 5,000 word article. And if you pick it up and copy paste it on your blog, AI will definitely detect it, right? But if there is other elements that you have added, you've worked on it, you've actually spent few hours creating, talking to ChatGPT and creating that article, you will realize that the content that actually comes out is very difficult to be said that this is AI content. Most people are making that mistake. The first answer that comes in, people just pick that up and move ahead with that, and that is getting penalized, right? Yeah.
But so with sites like Zero GPT and the likes of these, which actually detect whatever the output, whether after 5 iterations and working with AI for a couple of times to get the desired output, when you put that content into the Zero GPT, it would still detect a couple of lines that this could be AI written, and then you tweak a few words here and there to make it more human-like.
Yes.
And you might even do a bit of errors there so that you could cheat the algorithm and then paste it. It really works wonders from that perspective. It would be good to know if you have any additional tricks around this, so we could learn from that.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I mean, you've covered the most important trick. Actually put some typos and errors into the content so it looks human. So that is those are the things that people are doing here. Make it human. So what makes us human, right? We're not perfect. So what will we do? How will we behave? How will we talk? Don't create perfect English content. Use what me and you use to talk and add that element, which is what I'm trying to say, right? I can give GPT 5 of my articles and say, hey, this is how I write. Now create that is unique to me. Even if it is AI generated, it is unique to me. My perspective is, or my way of writing is unique to me. And you should do that. Once you start doing it, and the more content you feed in, to the AI engine, that your human written content feed in as much as possible, it will learn from that, and that is fine. That will generally not get penalized. That content will generally not get penalized. You can even put in so something been trying personally, trying to train GPT to think like me. So I would feed in, okay, ask me what movies I like, ask me what sports I watch, ask me what are my pros and cons about a topic, right? So when I add all of that, and then I say that, okay, now I want you to create a article and use my biases in the content. right? So I may have a bias, right, towards let's say a political party or to a sport or to a way of marketing, right? I may have my biases, right? So I feed in all that information, and then eventually I will say, okay, yeah, use that also in my content that you're creating, right? So make it more human is what again I'm trying to say. Yeah.
So the other question that I have is previously for any organization or any product or any whether it's B2C or B2B, we used to go all around, whether it was Google, whether it was blogs, whether it was app, whether it was everything, so that the in terms of the SOV, that whenever a keyword is being searched, that we kind of have the highest share of voice, whether it's a PR articles or anything. But now with products becoming specific to platforms, for example, a product that may just be launched on a quick commerce such as Blinkit or Zeptos or the Flipkart Minutes of the world, would it still make sense for that company to go on to a Google? It won't, right?
No.
So now the whole scenario of going across to all the platforms doesn't make sense.
It
It
doesn't.
would need to be evaluated basis the product.
Exactly. So you would have to, I won't say look at prioritize platform, but prioritize your audience. Where is your audience, right? Are they more on Swiggy or are they more on Zomato? Are they more on Amazon or are they more on Flipkart, right? So where is your audience, and just optimize for that. Yeah. So you're right. We don't need to optimize for all platforms now anymore, because we know, people are, brand lovers. So somebody who stays with Amazon stays with Amazon. But there are people who will say, no, I always buy from Flipkart. Yeah. Or for, for clothes, I may always go to Myntra. I may not even open any other, app or product site, right? So things like that.
So similarly, when for example, if I'm just promoting my product on Blinkit, for example, and if put that product, like I just put a just for the just for checking, I search that product on Google. Google also now gives these quick commerce links that it is available on Zepto or Blinkit. So is that something that I will be able to do through Blinkit, or I still need to take a Google package to kind of pull stuff from various platforms?
So far, Google is already pulling all this stuff. I mean, as far as yesterday, Google started even crawling Chat GPT conversations. So it is even listing Chat GPT conversation as results in their Google search, right? So, I mean, there are still, lots of debates around it as it surfaced yesterday. But the point is that Google will, crawl everything, and Google will start listing everything, because Google wants that you should buy eventually. When Google says, let's say your product, you're saying I've searched, but Blinkit result shows up on Google, right? You will eventually click that Blinkit result and go and buy from there, right? So Google will even Blinkit folks will start eventually seeing that, okay, yeah, Google is converting for us. So then eventually they will start advertising with Google.
Got it.
Yeah.
Got it. Got it.
Yeah. Cool. Good question though. Yeah. Good point. Anything else? Anybody has any other thoughts? Anything? Okay. Cool. So generally, this is how a marketing funnel in an inbound case will work, right? We will generally, as an look at yourself as a consumer, and you're looking. Just think about anything that you're looking to buy in the recent future. Just think about anything that you're thinking. It could be anything, right? Phone, car, house, whatever. Could be anything, right? The first thing that we think is that, okay, I need to do more research around this, right? What is right for me, right? You will search for, best mobile phones or, apartments in this area, etc., right? That is when you're trying to build awareness for yourself, right? So as a consumer, as a buyer, this is where I am. Whenever I'm thinking of buying a product or a service, I'm in the awareness mode and doing my research, right? Uh, from an inbound perspective, this is where I'm saying, okay, attract these fellows, right? So I will create content which will attract. Then eventually what will happen is I will look at 5 maybe or 3, products that I may be looking to eventually shortlist. Okay, these are the, I've done my research, I've got my awareness. Okay, what is a 5G and what is the plasma screen and all of that. I have done my research. Now I've shortlisted these 3, right? That is where I am in consideration mode. Yeah. Now I've done my research. I'm aware of what I want, right? I'm now into a consideration mode where I'm looking at 3 or 5, products finally shortlisted, right? That is where I'm consideration mode. Eventually, I will move to the conversion mode. Okay. This is where I'm actually saying, okay, now I want to buy. Yeah. I will finally buy, which is conversion. And then as a seller, am I able to convert you into a loyal customer? That is where I am trying to do the loyalty. Yeah. So the marketing funnel for inbound is similar to any other journey, just that in an outbound case, I may be approaching this differently, but in an inbound case, I will just say that, okay, yeah, it has to be a funnel. A lot of people will start from awareness, then they will keep shortlisting, and I have to keep getting them to a loyalty phase. Now, one thing to always remember is this awareness content is evergreen content that we just spoke a little while back. Why? Because there will always be more people who will be looking to buy your product or your service next year. Yeah, as simple as that. I may be, let's say, selling a course. Yeah, every year there will be more people who may want to do this course, right? So that awareness funnel is going to keep increasing every year. So I have to make sure that I am creating that content that, okay, when let's say a lot of you are there in this, about 50 of you are there in this program, but I'm sure about 500 of you would have considered this. And maybe 5,000 would have been aware of this program. Yeah. Eventually, only 50 of you are here in this program. Various reasons, but eventually that's how the conversion would have happened. That, okay, out of these 5,000 people who got to know about this program, 500 considered, and eventually 50, came and joined the batch, right? Yeah. Now, the idea is that are we doing a good job in engaging you and making you a fan of this program, right? Which is where the loyalty thing is. Yeah. Does that help in this context? What the stages are, and probably you felt like, okay, this is where you were in the funnel at whatever point. Probably you can think about it, how you got to know about this program, what were the factors you considered while choosing it, right? That will even help you even decide, okay, yeah, this is what I did, these were my criterias, right? Various things that you will look at. So yeah, so these are the stages. Okay. Just be sure on time. We're about 8. Should we take a break now or in 10 minutes? Okay, I'll just quickly scan through this and then we'll actually get into a practical side of it post the break. So let's spend another 10-15 minutes here, 10 minutes maybe. Okay. So now this is what we looked at: awareness, consideration, and conversion, or decision making also, as it is called, the third stage. Yeah, conversion / you could say decision making. Okay. Now what are the content things from a content standpoint, right? You would do SEO, you would do content marketing. And content marketing is not just limited to, you create a content and hope that it will rank on Google, or you create a, LinkedIn post and hope it will rank. Content marketing has gone far behind. Let's say, I don't know if you guys remember this movie called Bunty or Bubbly. How many of you remember? It's been a while, but still, let's see. Hopefully, some of you are closer to my age. Okay, some of you. Okay. A lot of you. Okay, good. That helps. Okay. So now, can anyone tell me there was a car launch that happened in that movie? No. Okay. Don't need to Google. Swift. Yeah. Desire was not there, but Swift launch actually happened in that movie. So the Abhishek and Rani Mukherjee, at some point they're seen driving an orange car, and it has no name. Okay, that is when was the first instance of Swift being seen in a movie, and it got a lot of inquiries at that time. Okay, what is this car that these guys are driving? It was a product placement there from Maruti, brilliantly placed. It was a product placement, and 20 years ago, I think most people were not even thinking of doing all of this. Now we all see, all these movies are made and they are a commercial success even before the release, because there are so many product placements that have happened within the movie, that they've already made the money, right? But the point is, you start noticing all this last few years, that okay, there is a, uh, you will see, TVF pictures probably, if you would have seen, right? There is that men face wash that keeps coming in. I think Nivea or something that they keep showing in between every time this guy goes and washes his face, and that product placement is there, right? So that also is, all of it is content marketing. Similarly, you would have seen people even producing movies or series just for their product. Um, Common Floor released multiple seasons for a series. I don't know if you guys watched that. Did anybody watch that? I forgot the series name, but they made a
Permanent roommates. Permanent
sorry,
roommates. Permanent roommates, I think.
Permanent Roommates. Yes, yes. Thank you. Yeah. Uh, right? So permanent roommates was product placement, common floor, right? So that is also content marketing there, right? So they're creating this content. Eventually, people figure out about their brand, but this content is actually good, right? So permanent roommates was, at least the first season was, I think, a pretty good hit. So people got to know and people watched that just for the actual content, and eventually, the product also got placed, right? So the content market is all of that. Yeah. Yeah, now a lot of you are able to relate now. A lot of movies or series which have products in place, right?
It's
Uh,
very cheap also, sir. It's for any marketing person to reach to masses. The whole partnership varies from 2 lakhs to 5 lakhs for an integration, and then they kind of promise a lot of buzz on TV and ATL platforms. So
correct.
for companies who are on a budget, it's a very cheap form of marketing from an ATL perspective, and you have celebrities endorsing your product.
Exactly. Exactly. Yes. So you don't
It's
even have
more
to.
like in film branding. We
Yes.
normally call that in the technical terms of our routine.
Yes. Thank you, Shrutika. Yes. Yeah, so all of this is content marketing, right? So you don't actually have to pay the celebrity to advertise your product, but it's been a part of the movie. The producers, the movie production basically gets paid. Obviously, the production house will pay the celebrity, but you don't have to actually, hire the celebrity to do it for you, right? So it's very smartly done now. And we being in the field, we will see all of this. But most of us not in the marketing or sales field, they would just look at it and, let it be, right? And the job is done. Yeah. Influencer is now, the new thing also, right? Micro influencers, macro influencers, a lot of these, influencers have come up. I don't know, maybe some of you on this group are also some influencers in your own, channels. But yeah, so all of this, that is content marketing, right? Um, in terms of consideration, when we reach that stage, generally we would be looking at more sophisticated content. Because now now I'm not just Googling for top 10 phones. I am now shortlisting 3 phones or 3 cars, and now I'm exactly looking for what I want. So I will now go deep, right? I will try to find more deeper things. Okay, what does this, specifications of this exact car, what does this mean? Is this engine better or that engine better? Right, at the first time, I may not be looking at those things, but when I want to actually know, okay, Maruti has a VXI engine, Hyundai has something else, Kappa engine, okay, what does this mean, what engine is better, what is my preference, right? That is where I will go into deeper things, like I may download a deeper brochure, I will go to a case study, which engine was better, why it is better, what terrain am I going to drive on which cases which car is better, right? That is where the deeper consideration comes in. Yeah. And then finally, we come to the decision making stage, uh, which is the conversion stage, and which is where I will do a free trial, if in terms of a product, or I will say, test ride in terms of a car, right? Some If I'm doing a service, I may be looking at $100,000 project, but I may say, "Hey, can you do a small 10K pilot for me?" It is a paid pilot, but I want to first see whether you're capable of delivering 100,000 project or not, right? So they may do a small pilot, right? So those kinds of things come into picture in the decision making stage, right? Yeah. And that is when, if you're a marketer or a salesperson, you would try to figure out, okay, what will mean? What is the success criteria in this demo or in this trial or in this, test drive or paid pilot? Try to find out, from the customer, okay, what will mean? What is success for you? What should happen that this trial or pilot is successful for you, right? And once you start understanding what are they evaluating, that is exactly what your content is going to be for this stage, where the buyer is in this stage. Yeah. So this is where you actually need to speak to a lot of your customers and see, okay, why did they buy from you, or what are they thinking when they are actually starting a pilot with you? Yeah. Any questions on this one? So I mean the 3 stages. No. Okay. So yeah. So just to summarize, this is where we are looking at. We look at attract, convert, close, and delight. And the same phenomena goes, like I said, earlier you would start with blogs, keywords, everything. Then you would go and convert through forms, through landing pages, through call to actions on your website. Then you would try to go into and close these deals, right? Which is where your CRM will come into play, your emails, your workflows, all of those things will come into picture. And then once they have converted into a customer, you would be, doing customer service, you would do smart content, which is, personalized content. And all of this will just come to that in a bit. But yeah, you will also look at what they're doing on social media. Are they writing about your product? Are they happy with your product? Or are they, even complaining about your product, right? That is where you start looking at social monitoring. That is basically what is social monitoring. Look at, if somebody is unhappy, can you reach out to them? Can you do something about it? Right? Yeah. Eventually try to convert those customers as your promoters, right? Because nothing else, sells better than a reference, right? If I go and write on LinkedIn about, hey, how good this product is, the product has done a good job, right? And they've got free marketing from me, right? So that is the eventual goal of any product or any company in general, that my customer should become a promoter. If they start talking about it, nothing else but sells better. I don't need sales piece. These will, sell. Yeah. Okay, so we'll take a pause here. Once we come back from the break, we will get back into some applications and we'll look at how to actually do it. Yeah. Any questions before we go into the break?
Would
Anybody?
you be getting these PowerPoint presentations?
I think so. We can check with the team, but yeah, I think that should be okay. Any other question? Anybody else? Okay, cool. So we'll take a 10-minute break. It's 8:09 on my watch. 8:10 in fact now. So 8:20, let's get back. Yeah. Sounds
Sure.
good? Yeah.
Yeah.
8:20, we'll see you. Okay, welcome back. I hope people are back.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, good. So before we just move ahead, anybody has any questions? I mean, sometimes it happens, the questions come in later. And so we got a break 10 minutes. Anybody, any thoughts or comments, not just question, based on what we spoke in the first last hour?
Thanks.
Okay, cool. So let's move forward then. Are you able to see the screen?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay, cool. So quick recap. Okay, we discussed about inbound, we discussed outbound versus inbound, some drawbacks of inbound. We looked at the stages of inbound marketing, awareness, consideration, decision making, what are the content types that are needed in each stage. We looked at how we actually, convert people from strangers to promoters for our brand and what are the elements that are needed to, use them. So let's move ahead. So what
Just
are
one thing,
yeah,
when you mentioned about AISO, is that something that we will be touching upon, that how do we do it for our brands or?
we will.
Yeah, all right, great.
Not today though, just to be sure.
Sure.
Okay. Cool. So let's get into the little bit of fundamentals of this. So we've already figured or understood that content is the key thing when it comes to inbound marketing. The second element that comes in is the personalization. Now, I mean, now it is very popular, but still you may have maybe a year ago you may have been stunned or be thinking that, okay, hey, this is what I was talking to my friend about. Now I can see, it on my Instagram feed or, whatever channel you use, LinkedIn feed, right? Or I was talking to somebody offline, but now I can see that product online, right? Or in that zone, in that similar context, something's appearing, right? So this is the personalization game. When I used to talk about it, a few years ago, I remember talking about this in I am I am Rohtak, I think 2018 or 19. And most of that audience was very surprised that, oh, this is not serendipity. It's actually, marketers trying to personalize based on what we are talking or what we are doing in our online activity. Right. At that time, a lot of the people were surprised that, oh, I was just talking about this to my mom and now I see a, similar product on my Instagram feed. Right. Now it is all very common. We all know that our devices are listening to us. They are, noting and taking, understanding whatever conversations we are having. Right. And the next thing we know, we'll see a ad on our phone according to that. Right. So that's all personalization. Now, I mean, as a marketer, I think it's a great thing, right? We understand where my user is, what they are doing, what they are trying to achieve, where they are in the buyer journey. I even know that now. Right? I don't have to guess that, okay, let me move this person from awareness to consideration. I don't know who this person is. Now we all know a lot of this, right? So the game has changed. The personalization level, the data that we're getting is, at a personalization level is now huge. We are able to, content the whole personalization journey. We are able to map these journeys. The software exists, the CRMs exist. Now we are able to put that, okay, this audience, put them in awareness stage, run these ads or run this content across them. Once they start, doing certain activity, automatically move them into the consideration phase. Now what content they should be seeing on my social media or what, on my ads or emails, what they should be getting, right? All of this can now be automated. Yeah. And that is where the integration piece comes in, because we all using, one is we are, as marketers, we are using multiple tools, but as our, as our prospects are also, they're using multiple tools, right? Multiple tools and software and, social media channels and browsing activity, right? So this integration of all these places where my buyer is, can I integrate them all and create a journey that considers all of these elements? That is where, the real power of inbound marketing is showing up. I think I may have ran over this very quickly. Did everybody get that part, especially the integration piece? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So just to give you an example, right? I can say that, okay, somebody who's come to my website for the first time, they filled a form, let's say. I can say, okay, they are in. What pages did they see? Based on that, I can automatically classify them whether they are in awareness or consideration phase, right? I can tag them in the CRM automatically. I don't have to do anything, right? Once that tag is there, I can then additionally do that. Okay, whoever is in this phase automatically gets an email which has content related to whatever phase they are in. If they are in consideration phase, remember the kind of content we spoke about in consideration phase, we have to show them, right? We can automatically then send that to them. If they have clicked on that content, we can automatically then say that, okay, put them into remarketing list on my Meta or LinkedIn, and they should start seeing these webinar links or webinar, ebooks, for example, on their LinkedIn feed now, right? And then eventually, when they start doing some other activity, again, it will feed back into my CRM. I can then automate that. Okay, let's push it now to my sales rep. Hey, this guy is ready to buy. Their score is, let's say if I'm doing a scoring in my, again, automation system, let's say their score has reached 100, which means automatically send it to my sales guy, ask them to make a call or reach out to them and try to see if they are now looking to actually buy, right? So all of this piece is driven by content, because I have created various journeys. I have created awareness journey, consideration journey, decision making journey. I've created content for each of this phase. I have automated this whole thing by personalizing based on which phase they are in, and then eventually trying to get them to convert and eventually, become a promoter of my brand or product. Yeah. So all of this is now easily possible. A few years ago it was possible, but it was difficult. Right now, all of this is very easily possible. The tools that we have right now all enable all of this. Yeah. Anybody who's doing any this whole journey piece that I just spoke about? Would love to hear. Yeah.
So I do something of the sort. So we have a lead score that we basically calculate on every engagement a customer makes. So through our email engagement, our website engagement, form submissions, also going down to breaking into seniority and the function and so on. So based on all of that, lead scores are given different leads, and that determines when we would actually have the sales reach out to them and extra hot lead, let's say, for instance. But also during the entire lead nurture stage, determining what content goes based on what they've viewed on the site. We may give them more content to further that interest level of theirs, and then slowly push them to a conversion. So we have that different stages in our email campaigns, social media campaigns, and all the content we push. So it's a combination of multi-channels and the calculations.
Yeah, awesome. Anybody else? Just tried, maybe not the whole thing, but some of these things.
Yeah, sir.
CRM, sir.
Okay. Tell me more, Shrutika. How are you using it? Yeah.
So we have done the integration with one of our CRM tool. Our company is into franchise model, so tapping the customers have never been so easy. But with this tool, we are able to see their transaction history with that, what are their purchasing behavior, especially my brand Aldo has multiple attributes of footwear. So there we have moccasins, we have flats, we have oxfords, we have loafers. So on that note, when the sell-through used to be always differing, at times it used to be loafers being always on higher. In some function, some occasion-based festivities, we had dress shoes. So now we are South market never gets into dress shoes.
Okay.
So we were able to analyze that the sandals or the more wearability features works very well in the south market, whereas in north it's only dress shoes, boots. In west it's a Cosmo, so mix of all. So that way we got that learning on a bigger way, where how we have to engage, what kind of customers, what is the message we have to push, how the emailer has to transit. So that gave us a lot of learning. So that way we are able to even dissect our performance ads too.
Wonderful. And are you also looking at creating content based on this data and analysis?
Yes, so presently we are creating on two levels. One is, of course, our website, and another two are the messaging tools. That is, one is WhatsApp, emailers. Message is something still, it still works. We get around a very surge on traffic whenever we send out an SMS. Rather, we are only receiving like a 7 or 8% responses on WhatsApp on the total database. So that way, customer keeps surprising us with their behavior. So
Wow. You said
it's
more conversions on SMS versus on WhatsApp.
yes, yes. So in November we have our that's an of course an wedding season plus multiple parties, after
Yeah.
parties, preparation for vacations. So there are a lot of shoppings that goes around in that period.
Right,
So
right.
in one of the days we've seen like 25 lakhs contribution only through SMS channel in
Wow.
one day. So that's way SMS has still has a lot of relevance.
Wow. That's really surprise. Yeah. Yeah. Wow. Nice. Anybody else wanted, Soumya, you wanted to share something, I think.
Yeah, yes, we have, I take care of that GT and along with that QSR retail things. So where it is south as the Gudi Padwa and Maharashtra and Ugadi in south. So as compared to the North India, and the more the sales transaction APC is going higher on that side. Where it is south is the south Indian, so we can distinguish the product as well, the what will be the sale part and all. So according to that, we content the create, we do the WhatsApp pattern kind of things.
And we do a much complicated for Samsung products, and that's something that I have done a couple of years back. For high-end products, once the pre-book season starts, once people start raising hands and they would have paid upfront money for everyone, those are the like low-hanging fruits. We continue to send them drip marketing emailers that this event is going to happen in so and so date. We are looking forward to you. We could run certain campaigns around that to keep them warm around that. And once the event has happened, then we start the uh, pre-book phase. Like people want the buy phase or the sales phase starts, then automatically the search query volumes, the content marketing basis, the P0, P1 features, we start kicking that in, and we start seeing the top of funnel convergence or the middle of funnel convergence around that. Automatically at the same time, we have certain CDM data sets basis the N-1 products, N-2 product holders that start kicking in, which would be, one series lower or two series lower. Thereafter, we also start reaching out to the B2B partners that there's a new product. Those who would have, after 2 years, the product becomes free in a B2B when they give it to the employees. So we start reaching out to their categories. We start sending out emailers across to them. And then parallelly, we also see what kind of an offer can we give across after the sales period ends. Then we see how can we further push it out in the market and the pre-buzz phases basis the product. Thereafter, we also activate the Samsung members, which is a loyalty set of customers. We start looking at an ecosystem marketing for that. Not only would we sell the latest product, we will send tabs, we'll send buds, we'll send watches, Galaxy devices, the entire ecosystem. Then we also look at the e-com system. We start pushing it out to the Amazon, Flipkarts of the world.
Right.
We look at cart abandoners, whether on the Samsung shop or the app. We will try to push through video live marketing. We'll try to bring in phone, customer care into it, that you have a product on the card. And there we also give the leverage to the callers that they could give a 10% discount there and then to kind of convert the sale out there. So all that thing asides to getting the go live from a virtual system to getting the SMSs out there, there's a lot of ecosystem, and of course there is a lot of push from the offline to a select set of consumers to kind of push the products into it. So I feel that's much more convoluted, and we do a lot of DMP, CDM marketing. A lot of emails go out. There is an overlap, of course. I would not say there's not overlap,
Yeah.
but it is all about conversion at the end of the day. So they're fine with it.
Yeah. I mean, integrating offline and online, I mean, that's the most difficult, piece of this whole puzzle. If you're selling only online, you can still connect everything. But the moment you bring in offline, I was speaking to somebody, day before, they have been selling online, all these years, last 10 years, I think. It's a meat selling company, and now they're planning to open offline stores. So now they're figuring out, okay, how do I now figure out whether, whether my brand is, actually getting noticed offline or not? And they're facing some challenges with
But
that.
I'm
So
sure they already have dark stores fulfillment. So
yeah, that was there. But no, they are opening up actual stores, not dark stores anymore. So
okay.
which is where they're asking people to walk in. Now they want to track, okay, whether my brand push is working for, walk-ins or not. Right? That is their, right now, worry or question, problem statement, I should say, that they're trying to solve. But yeah, so yeah, this integration piece is the I think was not possible a few years ago, and which is now helping us, as marketers, getting a lot of data, as some of you said, right? Use that data to further improve my marketing campaign, messaging, content that we are trying to create, right? So that is the whole piece. I think that we're speaking about here. So I'll get into a little bit, and again, if somebody is doing it, feel free to jump in and say, hey, this is how we are doing it. But yeah, I'll just get some basics today in place. Definitely, as a marketer, we just start from the buyer persona. Now, the whole thing is, how good or how well do I know my audience? If I know my audience well, I can do wonders. If I don't know who my audience is, or I'm just doing a spray and pray, chances are very likely that I am just doing, wasting my money on any marketing that I am doing, right? So defining this is the key thing of any marketing activity that, that we suggest. Uh, you have to do a detailed interview if you can. Otherwise, obviously, there are, offline sources. If you're doing a market research, you can do that. If you want to do it yourself, great. Right. So the point is that once you start speaking to people, you will actually know what their buying patterns are, or why they are buying from you or from your competitor or the product that you are selling at all, right? So some of the things that we've done in the past, and just to give you an example, uh, so here's a tool for creating a persona. In case you haven't done this, uh, can go to this website. I'll put the URL in the chat in a bit, but basically just go to make my persona, and you can start building your persona. Yeah. Point is that once you start writing all these details, you start getting into, okay, this is, who am I talking to? What is their day to day? And the idea is that once I know their day to day, then I can place my product in their day to day and see that, okay, am I creating value for them in their day to day job? If I'm able to create value for them in their day to day job, basically I'm saying that, yeah, I'm creating value for you. Whenever you're looking to buy a product, you come to me, and I don't have to say that. Most people will generally come back and do it. So that's normal human behavior, right? What am I doing? What I'm just trying to figure out, okay, what are their, key things? What is their KPI? Am I able to create value in their role? And I don't have to look at it, that, okay, uh, let's say, I'm selling a phone. Again, we were talking about a phone, right? So if I'm looking at selling a phone, I have to define, right? Okay, if this is the price value of my phone, who is it actually that who's going to buy this, right? If it is 1 lakh phone, what should be their annual salary? What is their, who do they report to? How are they being measured? And I can create content according to that. Okay, can I create presentations on this? If, I'm looking at that audience, then okay, they are creating presentations and spreadsheets during the day, most of the day, right? So can I do that on this phone, right? So once I identify all of this, only then I will be able to, create my content according to that persona, right? What are their challenges? Am I able to help them with this? Okay, yeah, communication maybe is a challenge. Collaboration is a challenge. Can I solve it through by phone? Yeah. Can I say that, okay, yeah, you may be using Google or Microsoft in your organization, and a Samsung phone, supports all of this and more, right? So all of that, can I create that content based on their challenges? The moment you start talking to me and start helping me with my challenges, I think I'm interested in your product. All right. That's the whole intent of creating this persona. Yeah. So yeah, so here is just, I'm just giving you a simple tool where you can start with this if you've not already started. But yeah, in general, you have to define a persona and figure out who this person is, what their challenges are, day-to-day life. You can even, I mean, in this case, we were looking at job, roles, but you could even say a homemaker. What are their challenges? If I'm selling to a homemaker, right? What are their challenges? And I can start writing those down. Let's say if I'm selling, let's say if I'm a school for that matter, right? I'm selling to a parent. What are their challenges when they are, when I'm a parent? What are my challenges? How am I measuring myself? When I say KPIs on this, screen or previous screen, I can think of as a parent, how do I measure myself? As a parent, how will my kid, say that, yeah, I did a good job or not, right? So what are those things? What are those questions? That is what I'm trying to get to when I'm trying to create that persona. Yeah. So yeah, and obviously, where am I? Where will you find me? Am I on Twitter more? Am I on LinkedIn more? Am I on Instagram more? Right? Where am I? That obviously matters, right? So we were working. I just remembered this. We were working with a school recently, and they said that I look at. I mean, the marketing head basically said that I look at their LinkedIn profiles, and I target based on LinkedIn, because I know if somebody is able to only people who are above a certain skill set in their profiles, they will be looking to get their kids admitted to my school, right? So they've identified what are those traits, and they look at LinkedIn instead of a regular any other platform. They say, okay, this is what I need, and based on that I will start doing my content creation for this parent, right? So all of those things come into the picture once you started identifying your persona. Yeah. So if you're in, I don't know how many of you are in B2B, but in case you are, here's something, we do. What we say is identify. So in B2B, we look at two things, right? Not just the persona, the individual, but also the company, which is your ideal customer profile or ideal customer accounts also, some of you may say, right? So we will look at, okay, let's say I will put some names, okay, this is a potential account I want to get into. I have no clue whether they are interested in my product or not, but I have identified that, okay, this is one account I would want to get into, right? In a perfect world, I would name some of these organizations that, okay, these are the organizations that I want to work with. I will then eventually say, okay, what are the industries or verticals that I'm targeting? What are their sizes? What are their geographies, revenues? Most importantly, what is their budget for the product or service I am selling? Right? Do they have XYZ budget? Because I want to work with companies who may be spending only $1 million or above in the service that I am selling. Right? So let's say you are a Cognizant or a TCS, right? So you may be identifying all these companies, and then you may be saying, okay, if this organization is spending in digital transformation at least $1 million every year, then they are my ideal customer persona profile, right? Accounts. And based on that, then I will go further. Do they use of certain technology that we offer? What is their, department size? If I'm selling to a marketing department, right? Who is their customer base, right? And then you define at an organization level, who is this organization? Yeah. Our ideal client is a B2B SaaS company in the US or Canada that has a customer service team of at least 10 people, ARR of at least 20 million, right? Customer base is made up of small and medium businesses that require significant hands-on training. So that is the definition at an account level. Yeah. So far, I mean, good. I hope some of you are into, B2B. So you get
Yeah. So
that.
would we be getting this Excel?
Yeah, you'll get that. You'll get this template, yeah.
Great.
So
Just one minor
I believe this
question.
is also present in HubSpot. So our HubSpot actually has its own ICP model. We have HubSpot for our own organization. So
Okay.
we use this a lot to actually, scan through our entire CRM to identify customers who may have not been initially captured in our segmentation. So yeah, quite aware of
Yeah.
this.
Now HubSpot has this inbuilt, yeah. Yeah. This is all, the old school way of doing it, honestly. We used to do it like ages ago, and now obviously tools have started bringing in, ever since HubSpot purchased Clearbit, they integrated all this information into the system last year. Yeah. Yeah, Kanuj.
Yeah, so I just have a question about personas. So, budget is one thing I think a lot of people can have in common. Suppose we are selling an S24 Ultra.
Okay.
So, he may be a person who is working in an MNC, or he may be a farmer in Haryana.
Okay.
So,
Yeah.
how do you go about personas in this case? The only thing probably connecting them is they have money.
Yes. So you will create different personas for your for the same product, right? So
No, the
like you said,
brand. I'll just answer it from the Samsung perspective. To be honest, from a
yeah.
brand perspective, the brand will not say that I am selling it to a farmer. So they will show the best of best person wearing Galaxy Watch Ultra and the latest Galaxy tech, working in a blue collar job. That's their prime persona. But who ends up buying it? It might be a Babaji who's going into a store and buying the latest phone.
That is the point.
Brand knows
So,
at the
what is
end
the
of the
point of having persona then?
no. So
So,
it is just for a consumer perspective to kind of show the value, and they don't want to
see,
be seen. It's
if
like
we are
Apple will not show someone like someone
no,
else
no,
in a
sir.
celebrity holding the phone.
Apple iPhone, maybe your Haryana farmer can buy a more expensive iPhone than you or me.
Absolutely,
So
absolutely. But
Apple will
but
not
at the
target
end,
that guy, but
so
they
so
have a different aspirational approach to marketing.
absolutely. But the point is that when you do this selling from a targeting standpoint,
No, that I
the
understand. That I
brand.
totally understand.
Uh-huh.
But the
But
only
when the offline selling
there will be
happens,
there will be
every
customers
dealer
which
has
are
its own set of top 100 customers who are not defined by the Samsung persona. They
yeah.
will
So
call
they
them, boss, naya phone aaya hai, they will come and they will buy it.
correct.
So yeah. So I mean, very good point,
This is
Anmol. And
mainly,
Kanuj.
I think, up to B2B perspective, I think about what persona think of company. Because in B2B, you need to define that how much revenue that company is generated and is there willing to pay or able to pay your product or service or not. I think that is significant in this section only.
Yeah. So that's why I was, saying that this template is, looking at a B2B organization, but you can classify it and simplify it for a B2C also. So for example, in this case, revenue, you can say, okay, if my, like I said, if my phone is 1 lakh, I am looking to sell to people who are earning at least, 25 lakhs a year. Only they may be buying it, for example, right? That may be the primary persona here. So you can say instead of revenue, earnings, right? You can say, and that is the salary. So you can, template the personalize this according to your audience. Yeah. And this is the organization piece, and this is the people piece here, right? So again, here I may say, okay, these are the people I may be targeting, uh, right? So this is the job title there, or in this case, let's say, है ना? So in this case, you may say that, okay, these people now, irrespective of B2B or B2C, but let's say CIOs or at one point, in fact, very famously, BlackBerry sold only to these guys because they were concerned about the encryption that BlackBerry brought in. They were the first to market with the encryption and with the BBM messaging and all of that. So tech guys started buying it just because they said, okay, this is more secure, right? So that audience who you are trying to sell to has to be identified. I mean, and very good discussion between Kanoj and Anmol there. Farmer may also be buying it, and a CTO may also be buying it, right? I still remember when a lot of these Haryana farmers sold their land during some years ago. A lot of land was purchased by the government. Uh, Everybody bought an Audi. Okay, Audi the car. Okay, now the thing was, the statement was, चार छल्ले वाली गाड़ी चाहिए. Okay, that was a statement that everybody made. चार छल्ले वाली गाड़ी. That's all they cared about, because they would have seen somebody having that car. They have no clue what that brand is, no clue what that what the qualities of that car is, but that's what they have identified. It has four circles on the front. That's what you want, because everybody else has the same car, right? So yeah, so I mean, you cannot figure this out who's going to actually go and start buying your product. But yes, eventually people will buy, and you will have to then come back and identify, okay, this is also my audience, right? So the Audi, the showroom in that area identified this, that okay, these are the guys who are buying the car. As long as people are buying, who cares, right? So they eventually started calling all these people, whoever so their network was whoever is selling, whichever farmer is selling their land, they would start contacting those guys. So it worked for them. They identified their persona, right? This is their persona.
No,
Farmers
they created canopies. They created makeshift car selling canopies there in the villages, and they sold right away, and Merck kind of left behind in that process.
Exactly. Yes. Yes. Right. So they did a good job, right? They identified who this persona is. Anybody who's buying this, selling their land and government is buying, and they, put that network in place that identify all these guys. Let's just do it. Right. So they didn't have to create content or anything in that sense, but the identification of the persona was important, right? Okay, who are these, people who are all of a sudden starting, buying Audis, right? So yeah.
No, but Tanuj's point was very fair, because this was, we used to go into the stores to kind of identify who was the first 100 customers, and it was none of the ones who was matching the persona that was identified.
Yeah.
For the Note series, we had created a persona which was slash lives. People who were, for example, engineers by the day and drummers by the night, or painters who were living split lives. None of those guys came to purchase the phone. Babaji with a Kamandal came to buy a phone at the end of the day. So wherein, but the still targeting kind of really worked for us when we were looking at the top funnel, and we were able to convert. But eventually, the dealer network sells to a different persona altogether.
Right.
And that's what we realized. We are looking at an offline sales versus what was being in a pre-book phase. So that's where the the differentiation happened.
Yes, this is exactly what I was saying earlier, right? That you would have to interview and find who these guys are. And in your case, the dealers are giving you that information that, okay, you may be thinking all these split lies people, but here is the real audience. Right? And those things are generally surprising. Like Shrutika also mentioned, right? That SMS is working for them. I mean, who would imagine in the age of WhatsApp, somebody is, selling more using SMS, right? So we're always surprised by what happens actually in the, market.
Now, all those SMSs are very clickbait messages, and I can give it to Shrutika. I am one of the consumers for that. So they're very nicely, they're very nicely structured.
Nice.
I think I should tell you to speak to my boss. He was complaining about my
So
content.
they also come at a very unique time. They come at somewhere around 11, when everything has happened, no SMS is expected, and they come, and then you're like, okay, it's free time, let's buy something.
Yeah. It's generally the scrolling time.
Yes.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's a marketing campaign well executed. I don't know if it will show up in your appraisal, but definitely here in the class.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. That goes in the boss's incentives.
Yeah. Maybe
Quarterly
once you get
incentives.
the recording of this call, maybe you can show it to your boss.
I will edit it.
Good stuff. All right, yeah. So just to conclude on that persona, if you're looking to create all this, these are the elements that you look at, especially if you're looking to sell to, working professionals, what their titles are, who they report to, what is their role in the buyer journey, what are their, objectives, goals in their job role, what are they measured against? This is the key thing, right? As long as you know what are they measured against, you can create content that will create that value for them, right? You identify their pain points, help them in their jobs, right? And that is where all this content and value prop comes in from, right? So yeah, so this is I mean, you will get this template, but yeah, the whole point is that you should be looking at a lot of these things. In a lot of cases, not all the elements will be relevant, but yes, this is obviously pretty comprehensive if you start going by that. But the thought is the same, right? You identify who you're, whether it is a Babaji or a, high, people living split lives, you have to identify and do, your marketing. And obviously some of it will work, most of it will fail. But that is where the, knowledge and learning happens, that, okay, yeah, we thought XYZ people, but it is only C. The A, B are not buying, right? And then there is a D and E audience, which we never thought was buying, right? So that is where you build that audience and persona from. Eventually, what will you do with all this persona? You will start creating content. Now, again, in a B2B context, you can easily, start looking at, okay, this is what happens, right? And B2B journey is also generally longer than, what a B2C buyer journey is, right? Obviously, it depends on, what is the price value of the product or, a service you're buying, but still the journey generally in B2B is slightly longer because there will be more than one decision maker, right? And then you start identifying all of these people, that, okay, who are these people now? What do I create? At what stage they are? What is the content I create here, right? When they've now moved to an opportunity, okay, what is the content now I create, right? Video testimonials, case studies, and specifically mention what is the pain point that got solved. Now they're converting into a customer. Okay, now these may still be relevant, but more on how to do this, how to do that. What is the ROI, proof, right? Validate with industry data, validate with your competition data. Hey, your competition is also doing this, right? How to make this work for you, even if you buy this software, how to make it work for you, right? All those things will come into the picture once you start seeing that your buyer is moving from left to right on this journey. Yeah. Eventually you will say that, okay, now they have become a customer. Now what do I do? So then you go to the next phase, which is customer marketing, where you will say, okay, now they are a customer. How do I convert them to advocate, win more business, go to other, let's say, departments within the same organization. Let's say you were selling to the marketing department. Now, is there a different business unit? Can I, get an intro there? Once I start going there, can I personalize my content just for them? Right. So for example, I remember for a customer, we did this. We were working with one of their departments, and then we worked for 2 years for this department. So we started creating a lot of this content as a marketing piece, and then we created a personalized landing page, email campaigns, everything personalized, identified different business units within that organization, and then we started, looking at promoting our content only to those folks. Now to a different department, we've identified everything, and they started coming onto that page and started seeing, oh, my company is using these guys. Oh, this is what they're achieving. Eventually they started converting that, okay, yeah, I want to speak to you. I see good stuff that has been delivered for our company. So one is that already in my head, as an enterprise, I'm thinking, oh, these guys are already a certain, vendor in our organization. So I don't have to go through a vendor approval process and all of that. So procurement is taken care of. Now let me see how can they help my business unit, do better, right? So land and expand is basically that, right? I have landed the account. Now I want to expand within this account, right? So those, what do I do now, right? So these are the content pieces. Then you start looking at that. Yeah. So in a B2B context, you start looking at more ways. In a B2C context, very simply put, in this case, if you were to do this on Amazon, you would see, right? People who bought this also bought X, very simple, right? People buying a phone, here are the alternates, covers or, something else, accessories along with the phone, all of that, right? So it is the same thing. When the person has bought something, I know now they may be in the market for the next set of things that generally this audience will buy, right? So you start creating all of that content eventually, right? Any questions, comments on this one? Okay, we're good then. How all of this translates, eventually you will start looking at your campaign goals. We'll start looking at, okay, now goal is, turn leads into qualified accounts. If that is the goal, what is the content? Eventually, all the metrics that a marketer generally will have, different set of content, and that content will serve a particular goal. Yeah. Now, for all of these goals, you will have your audience. Okay, this is where they are in their buyer journey. I have already identified who they are. I have identified where they are in the buyer journey, and eventually the messaging and creating will come in accordingly. What I have created in these last three tabs, over here. Eventually distribution, I mean, that is generally mostly sorted for all of us, that we know where they are, where we are going to promote this. But yeah, in case we are not sure, I think it is always best to do a A/B test, try a couple of things, try, uh, maybe 2 or 3 different ways, and then come back and say, okay, this is the, channel that is working for us, right? Eventually, based on your, based on your goal that we decided here, you will have your KPIs listed. That okay, this is what I'm going to measure my campaign. Yeah. So in a nutshell, that's how we look at creating an inbound marketing campaign. That okay, these are the people, these are the, if it is B2B, okay, these are the companies, then these are the people. These are the things that I am going to, this is where I create value for them using my content. Right. Once I've identified where and how will I create that value, then it is just matter of propagating and distributing that content across various channels and seeing that okay, which are the ones that are working, then tweaking the campaigns eventually as we go around. Right. Generally, no campaign will work in one go. Generally, we will have to try multiple variations and then eventually see. I mean, at least in the digital space, we can do that, right? We can do multiple email subject lines. We can do multiple email content. We can do personalization tokens. We can do a lot of, retargeting and seeing, what is the messaging that is working in terms of ads also. So all of that is generally, you would try a few things and arrive at a, consensus that, okay, this is what is working. And most cases, like everything else in the world, 80% of the results will be generated by 20% of your, campaigns. So like everything else, right? So you would have tried 5 campaigns, one of them would be giving you the highest. So just maximize for that. I think that is in general, any, any good marketer, that's what they will do. So, but yeah, just emphasizing that that's how a inbound marketing campaign would also be working here. Okay. Anything, any question or comment? Okay, good. Yeah, somebody said something. Okay, no. Then, yeah, the broad plan is just an example of how you would go around it. Yeah. This is a summary of all the things that we discussed so far. Build an account list, expand the account. Who owns this piece, right? Lot of this is dependent on, some of it is coming from sales, some of it is a mix of things. Sales and marketing alignment is also something we used to do, not anymore. It's the most difficult piece to solve. Sales will always complain the leads are bad, and marketing will always say that we're generating enough leads. Sales is not doing a good job. So that alignment, has to be brought in when you're creating, all of these campaigns. Okay. So yeah, so you'll get this template, but yeah, just wanted to take you through and make you think how you should be, approaching when you're looking at an inbound marketing campaign. Okay. Okay, so we've covered buyer personas. We've figured how do we do that. We have, okay, content calendar is not something we've looked at. Okay, let's look at that as well. So again, some of those things based on, how we look at it now, how we, do it now, execute it now will be changed. But I just want to share the thought process, how to look at it. When you're doing a, keyword strategy, let's say, right? And we figured this, a while back, that the keyword strategy is not just limited to Google. Now it is on Amazon, it is on Swiggy, whatever, channel you are selling on. You have to start looking at, what are the keywords that or terms that people are searching for, right? So the whole idea is that, you start looking at, okay, what are the keywords or what are the terms that people are searching for? So this is a template, we've used all our lives. Thanks to now to ChatGPT, I mean, this is all very easily, can be easily built fast and can be done faster. Otherwise, it used to take days for us to get to this. But yeah, the idea is that you create a broad list of words that you think people are using. You can use lots of tools now. Obviously Google's tool is there, but also SEMrush, Ahrefs, all these tools you can get. What you should, what again, it's a it's an ideal way of looking at things that okay, this is what people are searching, how easy or difficult it is to rank here, and what is the search trend? Is it going up? Is it going down? Is it, does it stay stagnant? Right? All of those things you consider. And you make a broad list of what are the keywords that people may be looking at. So this is a example of a HR tool. They were trying to sell to the US, and employee engagement, as you can see, was one of the primary keywords that they wanted to target. Right? So what are the things around employee engagement that people search for? You can see there is search volume, there is everything. And we classified all these keywords among various topics. Now, this is employee engagement and empowerment. There is wellness, there is collaboration, agility, change, innovation. These are the other categories that people are looking to buy an HR tool for. That how do I build collaboration? Okay, is there a tool which will help me build collaboration within my organization? Slack, for example, use that messaging. Slack is where people collaborate. Slack is where people work together, right? So Slack use that messaging, right? Uh, so you identify all of these, keywords that, okay, what are the things that people may be searching for, and is it easy or difficult to rank there, right? So the green ones over here that you see is generally, I think the what we would have picked up as, okay, use them, right? And eventually start optimizing for a few of them. You can't be optimizing for all of this, for example, right? How many are there? About 100 odd keywords, right? So you can't be optimizing for everything, but have a master list in place and start looking at, okay, what are the key terms that I want to, go after. Some of them may be long tail, some of them may be, short keywords, but something we may leave. So for example, employee engagement, you can see this has the highest keyword volume, 40,000 a month, but it's very generic. It's very difficult to rank for it. And more importantly, if you start trying for this, you may lose on the other things. So what we would generally suggest is that, go after keywords which, especially if you're a new brand, if you're a, if everybody knows you, then obviously go for the generic keyword, because that is where you want to establish brand recognition that, okay, employee engagement means XYZ tool, right? So just like, these Coca-Cola tried to do that, right? Thanda matlab Coca-Cola. So they're trying to establish that brand. Okay, this is what my brand stands for, and this is what I want to identify with, right? So they also meant that a consumer, when they go to a shop, they can buy water, they can buy juice, they can buy a cold drink, they can buy anything else for, if they want a cool drink, something that is cold. So they're competing with water also, they're competing with juice also, everything they're competing with, right? So they have to go for a generic thing, right? Thanda matlab Coca-Cola, right? So in same manner, if you're competing in that fashion and you're such a big brand, you will look at these words. If you are a relatively new brand or trying to establish still, and there are more established players, I would suggest go for keywords with lower volume, but try to see where you can rank better, right? So in this case, the brand picked up these words. Primarily, it's a decent search volume. There is limited difficulty, and the search volume is going up, or at least staying consistent. So we can look at targeting those, right? So you start identifying those words. So this is where, a GPT or a AI tool will give you a list. But how do you come and say, okay, this is the one? So how do you decide? That is the key question. How do you decide? Okay. So that is where our, intelligence comes in, and we may still use the AI to help us decide. But what is the question? What is the prompt we are giving that will help us decide and get to the right answer? That is still something that we have to learn as humans. We can't depend, at least so far, we can't depend on the AI to give us the right answer. Yeah, we still have to ask the right question, or tell AI to ask the right question to us so that we can answer, based on which I will decide. Yeah. So that is the critical piece here, that is where AI will come in. So you figure out a few words, you figure out, okay, what are the related words when people are searching for these words. You try to add them to this content that you were So let's say we're writing a content for this piece, okay, managing millions in the workplace, for example, right? So you will try to identify, okay, what are the other words that people are asking around this. And this is where, again, now we don't, look at Google search result, we just look at the first answer and we move away. But if you go back 1 year or 2 years back, you will realize once you search something, Google will say, people also ask, people also search for. And that is where, all this LSI, latent semantic index in a technical term, basically all these keywords would come in. That, okay, these are the words that people associate with your brand, or when they're looking for your product, they are also asking these questions. And that is what you have to answer eventually. Once you start answering those, your content gets created. People will, when they are searching for those answers, they will eventually land on your website, or in today's case, the AI will include that in your in the result, in the search, in the answer query. Yeah. Eventually, you would use that in the on-page SEO. I mean, I think this is all very common stuff. I suppose everybody would be knowing all of this. But yeah, you use all of this, that, okay, use my title, key title, and meta description and all of those things. Sorry, I'm running fast on this because I'm assuming most of you would know all of this. In case anybody has or doesn't know or wants me to go into detail, do raise your hand. But yeah, generally assuming that a lot of you would know all of this. Okay, it's all good. Yeah. Yeah, that's what I assumed as well. So yeah, so I mean, that's how you approach all of this. And eventually, you will come to yeah, you may also look at your competitors, obviously, where they are ranking, what are their keywords, where they are ranking. And eventually, you will arrive at a content strategy where you will say, okay, these are the topics I want to cover, which will relate to this product or feature that I am selling. Here's a focus keyword. Here are the LSI keywords. Basically, the content is focused around this. These are the other words that I will use in my content. Okay. The persona, obviously, we discuss, has to be there. First, you have to define who you're targeting to, right? And where is, this content there, right? Is it awareness, consideration, or decision making phase, right? So where is this, buyer in the buyer journey, right? And based on that, you create all of this content. Yeah. Okay. So that's how you look at creating a content strategy. Now, again, if you want, we'll you'll get this template as well. But again, now in today's date, all you have to do is use this template or use something like this that you have and tell an AI engine that, okay, this is the strategy I want to use. Now ask me all these questions and help me build a strategy, right? So that is the whole game that AI has now enabled us to do. So this is the why I'm sharing still all of this is the thought process. Once you have the thought process, then an AI engine help you execute all of this. Okay, so that is the idea. Yeah. So once you look at the persona, once you look at the content, once you look at your company's identified everything, this is you eventually go and, okay, these are the things that people look for. I'm sure in a few days or in a few months, all the AI engines will also start giving all this information that, okay, what are the most searched or asked questions on a GPT or a Copilot, right? And once we start getting all those data, we would be able to optimize for all of this as well. Just like Google started giving all this data that, okay, what are people searching for? Help them. And eventually people started saying, okay, this is what I will write and this is what I will advertise on Google for. Right? So similarly, I'm guessing in some time, all of this information will start coming from AI engines as well. Yeah. Okay, cool. So yes, I think we'll almost to the close of it. So content planning, how to do keyword research, we've all discussed. We've discussed buyer stages, content needs at each, different stage. Measuring and optimization, like I was telling, and I think a lot of you are already doing, right? So the idea is that look at what is the KPI, just like we were looking on that spreadsheet, right? For each campaign, what is the KPI that I am looking at to achieve? And whatever campaign is there of KPI, a relevant KPI we'll have to pick, whether it is impressions, whether it is click-throughs, whether it is, email opens, email click-throughs, buys, purchases, add to carts. What is the KPI that I'm measuring on this, content piece, right? And based on that, we keep improving and optimizing our campaigns, right? So that is the whole nutshell how we, look at an inbound marketing campaign. So there's an assignment, but before that, if anybody wants to share, comment, or even if you're doing it in your organizations, talk about it, brainstorm. We have some time, we can talk about it. So the idea is intentionally to, have some time at the end, because a lot of it we will be, learning from each other as well. Some of you are doing it, some of you may want to still learn how to do it. Right. So the idea is that I will always keep some time where we can share how we're doing some practical cases. Yeah. So yeah, the forum is open if anybody wants to share or even ask. Yeah.
So I had a question. So I'm in a B2B business, right? And the gestation or conversion for our product or services, they tend to be quite long, right? It's an IT or a software-based service that we or system we provide.
Okay.
So we would engage them on various channels, email. We have webinars that we run. We observe people who are visiting our website, what content they go to, and based on which we decide the content and what we proceed to. A big challenge has been the attribution model in terms of what content has actually got the person down, right? And because we are giving them content at different stages, right? But which piece of content has actually triggered it, right? And then we have, I think this is probably common in most B2B business and my colleagues as well, as the determination, because sales gets involved at one point once we get the lead warm enough to determine whether sales won the lead or it was won by our digital efforts, right? The actual content that we push, the content that has been engaged versus the salesperson's interaction with them, obviously with our support, right? But so how has that been something that you've handled or, changing in the current scenario?
So clearly it's a classic problem. Most organizations face this challenge, first of all. Like you said, some of your colleagues here on the call would also be facing that. Now, since you mentioned you're using HubSpot, I don't know if you're using that, something called as multi-touch attribution reporting. Okay. So forget HubSpot. The concept is that a customer does not convert based on any one activity. They would have seen your content maybe on social media, but not interacted then, but it registered somewhere. Then they may have seen an email and they may have clicked on that email. And then they may remember, oh, yes, I think I saw a LinkedIn post by one of their members, right? And then eventually they still have not done anything. Eventually you promote a webinar on a different platform and they saw that, oh, there is this webinar that I will find valuable. And then they go and convert over there, right?
Right.
Now you may think that webinar is the ultimate, is the only thing that converted, but that's not the case, right? They have seen your content across multiple channels and not converted. Once they convert, and obviously if they have not removed their cookies, you may be able to backtrack that, okay, yeah, they saw my LinkedIn post or they saw my email or they came to my website 2 years ago, but never converted then, right? So like you said, the buying cycle is very long in your case, right? So multi-touch attribution is 100% going to be there in your case. There is no way you could say that, okay, one channel or one content piece converted this customer for me. It's never going to be the case. What you will have to do is define these multi-touch attribution points in your system. You may say that, okay, these are the activities am I running, and attribute a various percentage weightage to each of this activity. So you may say that, okay, webinar is, let's say, 15%. Email campaign is 5%. And within webinars also you could classify it differently. Awareness webinar is, let's say, 5%. Conversion optimization, the decision making webinar is, let's say, 15% weightage, right? So you may have to classify those content pieces differently. So for example, for one customer, we implemented this, the lead scoring. For different pages, we had different scores.
Right.
Right. And because we had identified, these are the awareness pages. So this is the score. If somebody seen a consideration page, additional, this page is different. Not all website pages are same scored, right? So weightage, right? So content, what content, what channel, and what is the, where are they in the buyer journey? right? All these
Right.
aspects come in, and then you classify, and it's difficult, but you can classify and identify that, okay, these are the categories, these are the weightages, 15% because of, so on 100%, conversion, 15% because of the sales guy being, very firm and being able to chase the customer and all of that, or he took them out to drinks or whatever, right? 15,
Right.
20% you will give that attribution to them. But what was the gestation period? What did you do in that period? From a lead to conversion, I'm guessing it may take a few months. So how
Right.
did you keep them engaged, right?
Right.
Were they, and not just your effort, were they actually engaging with your content on various channels, right?
Right.
So all
I
of
think
that
the struggle has been when you say attribution is one is the attribution of what triggered the final reaction, but also then how do we spend our budget? Because we put money behind these posts and some of them have paid promotions as well. Because then it becomes harder now to determine what was the actual where do we put our money down? Where do we get it most? So, like you said, the webinars seem to be generally where people come and they start, there's an actual engagement that takes place, right? Where you can see then the sales getting involved and getting the conversion. But a lot has been lost in the fact that we've been warming that customer up with engaging with content for a long period of time. And then it comes like, oh, these campaigns have not really performed. You put a lot of money behind this, but yeah, the time when you launched these, nothing happened. When we launched the webinar, see what happened, right? So it's kind of that struggle in trying to explain that, it's not this that's happened. We have done this over a period of 3 to 6 months. We've got this guy to join the webinar. He may have not joined because of this, right? So that's the internal fight between the sales team versus marketing team that we go through.
Yeah. Something I was talking about it, right? Sales and marketing alignment, the toughest piece to crack in a B2B setup. But see how I would approach is, you would have to say that, okay, I am doing these 100, let's say activities, put them into various buckets, put a weightage to each of them, right? So attending a webinar is okay, higher weightage. But getting them to attend the webinar, for that, they would have probably seen a couple of content pieces or opened your emails, right? They also weigh, right? They also have certain weight, right? Once you classify all of this, then you say, okay, based on my budget, again, if I have 100 rupees, I will just start putting, based on the weightage of each of these activity. Okay, if a webinar is 15%, then okay, I'll put out of that 100 rupees, I'll put 15 into the, webinar, getting them to the webinar. That's my key activity, right? That's how you say, because, or if you see, I'll tell you what, if you just say, webinar is a one activity that is converting and let me put all my energy into that, you will realize that they were not getting warmed up even to come to the webinar.
Correct.
Right. And then you would say, oh, now webinars are not working. So you have to spend that money to warm them up, eventually to show up at the webinar, right?
Right.
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. So put a weightage, put an attribution weightage to all your channels that you're doing. And based on that weightage, attribute your budget also accordingly. Because it's not, and most cases, especially in B2B, multiple channels it takes to convert. I was talking to HubSpot folks, a couple of months back in Singapore, and they said earlier the data point was that 7 touches before a customer converts. That was 3 years ago. Today, that it is 20 touches before a customer converts. Now, this 20 touches is across channels, right? It's not against one channel, right? So, I mean, there is a data point, right?
Yeah, we'll keep at it. Like I said, we have all the lead scoring in place. We're tracking all of this activity. So we do claim that, yes, we did this part. But yeah, okay, got your point. It helps with the budget planning a little more then.
Yeah. Cool. Glad. Good question. Very good question. And marketers are generally struggling always to show that, hey, this is, our effort. This is coming from our efforts. Sales will eventually take that credit. And yeah, no, we convert them. So it's a common problem. Yeah. Good. Anybody else has any other thoughts, comments, problem you're struggling in your work with? I think that's where we will, get the most value. Or even share a win that you got using some of this. Okay, cool. So let's get to the assignment. Anyway, it's almost time. Okay, so what we have to do is for our, before our next session, and I think our next session is in 2 weeks' time, not the next week, is what I understand. So you have a fair bit of time, but look at your, organization's website, and if you're an agency, pick up a client. Pick up any client that you're working with right now, and try to figure out, okay, these are the three, awareness, consideration, and decision-making phases, and what are the content pieces that are aligning, and what am I missing? Do an audit of your own organization or one of your customers, and in the next session we will talk about it, because generally what we've seen is, and last year also this happened, people came with very interesting insights that, okay, this, I didn't think this was happening, or I didn't think this was possible, or I didn't think I could do this. So when you do an audit, just as an outsider, okay, whatever we've understood today, and you may be thinking and you may be doing it already, but think about it. Okay, let's see, this is new insight I've got today. Let me look at it differently. Just look at it. Use your AI engines to, do an audit and come back with some insights next on the next session. And we'll talk about those, that, okay, this is what is happening. Yeah. Cool. Is the assignment clear? Thumbs up, thumbs down.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks. Okay. So we are good. Any final questions, comments? Anybody has?
Just like in terms of the homework that you've given, I was just thinking, so how relevant is SEO still now with all the AI searches that people are doing? Because now, like you said, the AI summary comes up, or people are just searching on Chat GPT. So how much, like, is SEO still as relevant?
Yeah. So, I mean, SEO has just got transformed to AIO, right? So optimization. So the optimization still remains relevant, because whatever content you're creating is, leading to these people's Chat GPT results. I'll show you one thing. Give me one sec. I'll show you one thing, and that will probably tell all of you why it is still relevant. Uh, just give me 1 second now. Sharing an internal screenshot, but that should answer. So we got a lead very recently, last week or last week, and we also use HubSpot, so we are able to track where is the lead coming from. So here is what you see. I'm guessing all of you understand UTM source.
Yeah.
Right. So you understood what happened here. Right.
The first referring chat is AI.
Yes. So somebody searched for something on ChatGPT. Our website showed up in the GPT's answer. They clicked and converted on our website. You can see referring site is ChatGPT. So, which is what I'm trying to say. The content is still relevant. Yeah.
Yeah, like the reason it showed up on ChatGPT is because of your SEO, etc. efforts, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Got it. Thank you.
Yeah. So I hope this real example helps you answer that question. A lot of people will keep saying SEO is dead. It's not really. It's just that it's transformed in a little bit. That's the only difference. ChatGPT is also a search engine at the end of the day, right? Perplexity is also a search engine, right? So everybody crawls the web and gets you the answers. Yeah. So don't look at SEO as Google, but look at it as a search engine. And when I'm talking to a GPT or a Copilot, I'm searching for something. Yeah. So keep that broad analogy in mind. Search still remains relevant, which is why, all of this still is useful. Okay. Cool. I hope this helps. Any other question around the assignment or in general, anything that we spoke about? Okay, good. I guess you will be getting some feedback also, or sorry, do I have to share a feedback form or something, or
No, they send it to us usually.
they send it to you? Okay, good.
Yeah.
Okay, that's taken care of. All
Thank
right.
you.
Thank you, guys. Have a good night.
Thank you.
Yeah. Bye-bye.
Thank
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Bye-bye.